So comment, subscribe, dislike, or like. Check out the links in the descriptions for other of my sites, other activities that I'm involved in. Got a whole bunch of Facebook groups you can check out. I play multiple card games, so I do music among other things, so check out the links in the description. This is my Hatchhyack Negative Energy Yellow Unison deck. Copy of the leader. 4 Oceania Shenron, 4 Sin Shenron, 4 Haze Shenron, 4 Eos Shenron, 4 Dr. Leche, 4 Goku, Venture Begins, 4 4-star Ball, 4 Power Burst, 4 Max Power Kamehameha, 4 Flying Nimbus, 4 Vegeta Unison Fury, 4 Kaioken Goku, Reclaiming Hope, 4 Rumshi, Universe 10 Supporter, 4 SS2 Gohan ZU Fighter, and 4 Mecha Plotting Revival. So there's 24 yellow cards because of 20 Unisons plus the yellow extra card. Obviously, Flying Nimbus, for its like capabilities, especially if your opponent drops, multiple 8 drops, or just has the ability to attack with one, more than one battle card. You want to slow them down. The leader already can reduce your opponent's attacks, but of course, most people who are familiar with Hatchhyack will try to find ways to attack more. So having Flying Nimbus as a backup for that type of situation comes in handy, especially if they play extra stuff like big high cost overwhelm cards. Max Power Kamehameha, of course, helps you negate an attack. Could bounce it back to your hand by warping 4 cards for your drop. Also has an active main ability which lets you warp one of your opponent's battle cards. It has a higher energy cost than their energy. Power Burst, when you have 5 or more cards in your drop, you can obviously take a card from your life to play this card for free. So it acts as a free negate, and it can grab a 1-drop black battle card from your drop or warp. The target for that is Goku Venture Begins. Obviously, Goku Venture Begins with the 4-star Ball as your reusable combo engine or your endless combo strategy. Plus, you can use this to discard for card effects like Oceanus, for example. Or if you're going up against like hand control, obviously you rather discard the 4-star balls than any of your good stuff. And then you can always get it back with Goku Adventure Begins. And the more copies of Goku Adventure Begins you have in play, the more 4-star balls you can get. So it's good to have a handful of balls. So that's what that's for. Obviously, Oceanus, for the fact that she negates an attack, she's a blocker, and the ability to make your opponent mill 4 cards every time they attack. So that will help you reduce your opponent's attacks, and it could potentially help you mill your opponent out. Sin Shenron Negative Energy Explosion. With its Spirit Boost ability, it'll help you mill your opponent, so there's some mill elements in the deck. It's a barrier blocker with Deflect and Double Strike. It's a 20k body. It's good in all different types of ways, obviously. On the fact that you can attack with it and then restand it with its Spirit Boost ability. So you can potentially block, more than one attack. Turn. We have Haze Shenron. He has critical and blocker. And when he attacks, he can let you warp one of your opponent's battle cards, so that gives some board control. The fact that it's crit, you deal your opponent damage, they don't get nothing to their hand, so that's some hand control element there, and then it's a blocker. And it restands at the end of your turn, so you can attack and defend, defensive stance strategy. You always want to keep your defenses up, so obviously this deck is very defensive. Then we have Eos Shenron, which is a barrier blocker. At the end of your turn, you can switch this to active mode, so you can attack with it, and then restand it. So attack and defense, right? You see the pattern there. Being able to attack your opponent but keep your defenses up, so bob and weave, hit and run, whatever you want to call it. Then we got Dr. Leche, It's just a blocker. Auto, you mill the top to cover your deck every time you play it. So try not to play it too much, right? And has the active main. We could pay 2 in order to play this from your drop. So it's a reusable blocker on top of your other blockers and your Unison blockers. Obviously, we have a lot of Unison blockers to use. Vegeta, Unison Fury, has the active main. Once per turn, choose up to one of your battle cards or discard and switch it to rest mode in order to add a marker to it. Then it has the -1 ability. Your opponent can't attack with battle cards with energy cost greater than their current energy until the end of their next turn. So it's a floodgate way of preventing your opponent from attacking. Your leader already reduces their attacks. This will just add to that, so extra layer of defense, obviously. So it's obviously this effect is really good with this leader. And then has the -3 ability where you can choose up to one of your opponent's energy, switch it to rest mode. Then this card gains a 5k power, double strike, and dual attack. So it becomes a 20k dual attack. Double strike dual attacker. So you could use this as a finisher. Then we have a Kaioken Goku Reclaiming Hope, which is a 15k blocker with a +1 active main ability. Choose one of your opponent's cards with energy cost greater than or equal to their current energy, and it can't attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's good for freezing your opponent's battle cards for a turn. So that potentially will reduce one attack a turn using that effect, and you're getting a marker, which is always good to get a plus on your Unison, especially when it's a blocker. So you're filling up, your ability if you use this to block. And then it has the auto ability that choose one card in your battle. Choose one card in your battle area and switch it to rest mode, like a field card, obviously, for example, and obviously a actual battle card. Then switch it to rest mode, and then you can switch this card back to active mode, so you can block with this again. So the idea is you activate, you use this to block, then trigger the auto, putting something else, putting a battle card to rest mode, or field card if you have one, and then and then put this back into active mode so you can block a secondary attack. So this has the potential blocking 2 attacks up to 3 a turn with its +1 ability, and then its auto. Then we have Romshi, has a power 2, so when you play it, you can grab, you can add 2 markers to it from up to 2 markers from the previous Unison you had. Auto, if this card has 4 or more markers, when you play this card, draw 1 card, then choose all of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO them. So it's a board wipe for energy, or 4 markers, I should say. But you could, hard cast this for 4 and trigger that effect. So keep that in mind. Sorry. Has a +2 active main ability where you can place up to 2 Dragon Balls from your deck to the drop area and shuffle your deck. So obviously we do have Dragon Balls because we have the 4-star balls, so you could dump them to the drop to give it the markers, or not. Right? You can just do the +2 just to just so you can +2, and then use the markers obviously for Spirit Boost ability of Shenron. Then it has the +0 active main, which we don't use. We just mainly use this as a board wipe and for Spirit Boost. But definitely for the board wipe ability, gotta have some board control, right? It's not enough to defend against our opponent, we gotta make sure we clear the board process. Then we have Gohan Z Fighter, has a power 3, and it's a blocker, 20k blocker. If this card has 4 more markers, when this card is played, choose up to X of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring bear, which is an important keyword right there, right? Where X is equal to the number of yellow unison cards in your drop area and KO them. So typically you probably have like 2 to 3 unisons in your drop by the time you play this. So, you know, you don't need to get rid of too many battle cards, just enough. So the fact that it kills barrier battle cards is useful, obviously. And then has a +1 active main ability to draw cards. So it's a 20k blocker that can obviously get a marker and draw. So it's a draw engine plus defense. So always keep your hand nice and thick, as they say. So when I saw the card, I was like, auto include in yellow Hatchhyack. And then has the -3 active main. Choose up to one of your leader cards and this card. They both gain 5k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this will be a 20k, and your leader will, obviously will be 5k stronger. And then this gets triple attack, which is really nice. The fact that it'll have 3 attacks, plus it'll be a 25k body. It'll apply pressure to your opponent. And the fact that you can gain 3 markers from the previous unison just makes it easier to use this as a attacker and a blocker. And since you'll be triple attack, you can obviously swing with this twice, and then not swing on the third time, so that way you can use it for defense. And then we have MicroRecords Plotting Revival. It's a blocker with the auto once per turn. When this card loses a marker from an opponent's attack, choose up to one of your opponent's cards and switch it to rest mode. So you could do a unison, a leader, extra card if need be, energy, right? And then the +1 ability, draw 1 card to choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignore and bear, which is always a good keyword to see. And that card can't attack. It can't switch to active mode till the end of your opponent's next turn. So basically, that battle card you choose, your opponent can't attack with it. And then, obviously a really good ability, the -4 ability, which is choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, gain control of it, and switch it to active mode, which definitely comes in handy. Since we're very defensive, a lot of our opponent's battle cards will be in rest mode because of us, blocking and negating. The ability to take something and switch it back to active mode so we can swing with it is very useful. He's a 15k body, so you can obviously play him, use him to swing, and then do his -4, take something, and then swing again. And see another video.